Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Chrissy Lubman, and I'm a Global Learning Coordinator and Advisor here at UC Santa Cruz. This is an info session about study in Japan opportunities available to UC Santa Cruz students, co-presented between UCSC Global Learning and the Consulate General of Japan in San Francisco. So here's our agenda for the day, for the next hour. So we'll spend about the next hour giving a broad overview of UCSC Global Learning, current study abroad programs in Japan with a special focus on Osaka University and Waseda University, how to apply to MEX scholarships, an update on the situation with COVID-19 in Japan for international students, and last but certainly not least, we have Keio University alumnus Christian Salazar, who will speak briefly about his study abroad experience in Japan. And we're going to open it up for Q&A session with Christian as well as the other presenters today, so you can ask any questions that you have. This session is going to be about an hour to an hour and a half. If you need to leave early, no worries at all. We're recording today, so we'll provide a video to everyone once we're done. Okay. And with that, let's get started. So as I said, my name is Chrissy Loveman. I'm a UCSC Global Learning Coordinator and Advisor. A little bit about my background. I studied abroad in Japan for academic year in Osaka when I was a junior in college. It was a very impactful year for me, such that I am now working in the field, helping other students to study abroad. Japan is a very special place in my heart, so I love to help my students. I'd love to help all of you go to Japan if that's what you would like to do. After graduating, I decided I wanted some more of it, so I got into the JET program, and I spent 2 more years in Japan teaching English in the countryside of Japan in Hyogo. And again, a really, really positive, wonderful experience I had. Further solidifying my passion for Japan and wanting to help others go to Japan as well. So first of all, what is study abroad, study away? Well, it refers to programs that result in progress towards an academic degree. Global learning programs come in all shapes and sizes. They can be international, domestic, and virtual. They can happen during the summer, fall, winter, spring. Regardless, they all award academic credit that goes on your UCSC record. Global learning sparks growth in you and your relationship to the world. So what do we mean by this? Well, studying abroad is an opportunity to complement your UCSC studies with unique experiences you wouldn't be able to have on campus. So for example, developing relationships with other international students, faculty, and professionals in your field, studying subjects not available at UCSC, and having intercultural experiences on a daily basis. Global learning also allows you to study subjects not available at UCSC. And studying abroad or away also allows you to confirm your calling by exploring what you're passionate about in a whole new cultural context. And it allows you to embark on a journey of self-discovery to learn more about yourself. Okay, so let's jump into a snapshot at UCSC as far as who's studying abroad, where they're going. So you can see on this map roughly the breakdown of regions of the world where students are studying abroad on our campus. And you will see that Japan is up there in the top 10. It's actually the 4th most popular country with our students. And we've been seeing Japan growing in popularity over the years. Even in my few years working at UC Santa Cruz, I've seen it really blossoming among students from all fields, social sciences, humanities, STEM. So we're really excited to see all the interest in Japan, and we have no shortage of program options in Japan, which we'll talk about here shortly. Okay, so let's go over the different types of programs that are available to you as a UC Santa Cruz student. First, we have UCSC Global Seminars. So these are offered during the summertime, during summer session. And we have been running a program in Japan for a couple years now. with an art professor, Jimin Lee, and she teaches relief printmaking. So I'm sure you're all familiar with the really famous image of the waves in Japan. A lot of people have a poster of it. That's mokuhanga, that's relief printmaking. So Jimin actually takes students to Japan in the summer, and she teaches students how to practice that art. So again, this takes place during summer. It's a small class of around 12 to 20 students who go together as a group. They all earn UCSC credit for art. There's a lot of scholarships that are available for a program like this. And if you use financial aid, you can use financial aid on this program specifically. UCSC exchanges. So these are a new type of program. They've been on our campus only for about a couple years, and we have 4 universities that we work with. So on a UCSC exchange, you go abroad during the regular academic year, so fall and winter, or year or spring, but it's not available during the summer. And you're basically going to that university in Japan, and that university is sending their students to us. So we're exchanging students, literally. And you receive UC credit. You can it's possible to fulfill credit in your major, your minor, or electives, as well as GE credit. Some courses are even pre-approved by departments. You pay your regular UC Santa Cruz tuition when you do an exchange, and then you pay your living cost in Japan, so housing and food, for example. You must be at least a junior to participate in an exchange, and you can use your financial aid. In fact, financial aid will repackage your aid to meet the cost of the program. So you should be getting the same percentage of costs covered. So we have University of Tokyo, Kyoto University, Rikkyo University, and Sophia University. These launched kind of around the time that COVID hit. So unfortunately, we haven't been able to send a student yet on any of these programs, but we are looking to do that for the first time this fall. Applications are open right now if you want to study abroad at any of these universities for next spring 2022. We are taking applications first come, first serve. And a number of subjects are available on these programs. You can check the website to see what's available, to see what's taught in English. Then we have UCEAP. You might all be familiar with this the most. They're the University of California Education Abroad Program. They are the official study abroad provider for the UC system, so students from all campuses can participate in a UCEAP program. They have programs for summer, quarter, semester, and year. You can study virtually any subject on a UCEAP program and still receive UC credit that you can possibly use to fulfill major, minor, elective, or GE credit. You can use your financial aid. They will repackage you to meet the program cost. They have different types of programs with UCEAP, immersion programs, language and culture, ones that are more focused on a specific discipline. There are even internship and UC Study Center programs. So for Japan specifically, these are the programs available. There's Global Studies Japan that takes place at Meiji Gakuin University. This is a program for students who are majoring in the social science. There's also the engineering and science program at Tohoku University. So if you are studying the STEM subject, you can explore this option as a great way to see what's available. There's also some programs that focus on Japanese language specifically. So at Doshisha University, they have a spring program that studies Japanese very intensely. And also at Osaka University and International Christian University, they have a summer program that focuses on Japanese language. There are a couple of STEM research programs, so you can do lab research as opposed to traditional study in the classroom. So at Osaka University, they have a summer program, but they also have a program offered during the regular academic year. And then the University of Tokyo has a summer program as well. Then there's some immersion programs, and by that we just mean you're enrolling in the university and taking courses that are available to regular students. So you're kind of immersing yourself in that university. Hitotsubashi University, International Christian University, Keio University, and Waseda University are all available to you. And those schools have various subjects that are taught in English. The website will tell you more about what you can study. A couple last options. So if you find that UCEAP or exchanges are not offering what you're looking for, there are programs available through the other UC campuses. So UC Davis or Berkeley or San Diego, for example, they have their own programs, and some of them do have Japan as an option. So if you want to do another UC program, you can still get UC credit that you can use to fulfill graduation requirements, major, minor, elective, GE credit. And you can use your financial aid. Since it's still a UC program, financial aid will be able to package you for a UC program. Most of these are programs taught in the summertime where the faculty from that UC campus are taking a group of students abroad. So in many instances, you'll be traveling with a small group of students over the summer. And you can go abroad, like I said, mostly for summer, but there are a few quarter programs as well. And last but not least, there's independent programs. So this will be anything that's outside the UC system. For example, you may have heard of Semester at Sea or International Studies Abroad, or just a different university like the University of Oregon. These are all considered independent programs. So with this type of program, you get transfer credit, and you can use that possibly to fulfill major or minor elective GE credit, but just keep in mind that when it's transfer credit, sometimes you're not able to fulfill major credit with that, and it doesn't impact your GPA, so grades don't carry over. Financial aid, unfortunately, is not able to package students for independent programs. So if you rely upon financial aid, we wouldn't recommend independent programs, but if financial aid is not really a factor for you, independent programs can actually be quite affordable. And you can go abroad anytime. There are all kinds of programs taking place all throughout the year, summer, quarter, semester, year, internship, research, you name it. Okay, so you may be asking, well, then how do I get started? Well, first thing first, plan early. Application deadlines are typically like 4 to 8 months before the program takes place. That's kind of a wide stretch there. So we say you should probably get started about a year before you'd like to go abroad. That gives you time to really explore all the programs available, to narrow down the one that's the best fit for you, and be able to apply by the deadline. Some programs are limited capacity, which means that we have a limited number of spots. We process applications for those first come, first serve. So there are instances where those programs do fill up before the deadline. So again, limited capacity programs, be on the lookout for those. Otherwise, if it's open capacity, you just need to apply by the deadline, and you should not have any trouble getting a spot on that program. So if you want to study abroad your senior year, we recommend you would start your junior year as an example. So first step is to create a profile in Slugs Abroad. That's our database where you can apply to programs, RSVP for events, make an appointment with an advisor. The profile is really your first step. It will help you get acquainted with the different program types. It will ask for some information about yourself that will better help your advisor support you. So if you log on to Slugs Abroad, you can fill out your profile. It doesn't take super long, maybe half an hour at most. And once you do that, then you can really start applying and kind of, getting a head start on your journey. I've ran through a bunch of program options today. So if you want to review those again, you can visit our website, globallearning.ucsc.edu, to explore those program types. And then, feel free to meet with an advisor to clarify your study abroad goals and finding a program that best fits for you. If you have questions about finding a program that offers a particular subject or, a particular type of experience you want to have, research or internship, you can always meet with an advisor. We can help walk you through those steps. Apply for a passport. So on some programs, you need a passport, a valid passport at the time you're applying. In some programs, you need it not until a little bit later on in the process, but we do recommend you go ahead and apply for a passport once you've decided this is definitely something I want to do, to study abroad. Passport processing times are also delayed right now with COVID-19. It's taking longer than normal to process a passport application. So for that reason, especially, we are encouraging students to go ahead and apply for your passport. Okay, academic planning. So all students must get approval from their major, minor, and college advisors in determining how to fit your study abroad program into your plan. So if you're doing a UC EAP program or a UCSC exchange program, you will actually have to get a form signed off by your advisors. It's the academic approval form. It's a form you can download from a website. It does take a week or two to complete, so it's not something you want to wait until the day before the deadline to do. Just want to, give you a heads up on this requirement, and just, it's a form that's going to help all your advisors be on the same page about what it is that you're, when you're going abroad, what you're going to be studying, how it fits into your overall plan. And it will also make sure that you can help graduate on time. So financial planning, financial aid goes with you on all UC programs. So once you, choose a program that meets your goals, you can review the program costs and the budget. And basically you can reach out to financial aid and request an estimate of how much financial aid you would receive on that program. And you can do this before you even apply to a program. You can actually ask financial aid for an estimate request for up to 3 programs. So if you want to compare your aid estimates for a few programs that you're considering, you can certainly do that. And you can make a decision based on, finances. Aside from financial aid, there are many scholarships that you can apply to. Our students receive more than $140,000 annually in combined in scholarships. And there's quite a few out there. We highlight a few on the slide, but there are many more on our website. So here we mentioned the Gilman Scholarship, the Promise Award, and the Freeman Asia Award, as well as the Fund for Education Abroad. These are some of the top scholarships that award a very generous amount of money. Our students have received all of these scholarships. And, the Freeman Asia is specific for Asia. It's a great one if you want to go to Japan. And there were other scholarships specific to Japan as well, which we talk about on our website. So with scholarships, it's really important that you apply early. The deadlines for scholarships are always much earlier than you anticipate. So once you choose a program, I would recommend you narrow down scholarships, figure out when the deadline is, put it on your calendar, and start planning to apply for that a month or so before the deadline. We're on social media, so you can follow us. We're on Facebook and Instagram. We're pretty active on Instagram. We post, I think, about every day now. You can follow us, hashtag UCSC Global Learning. We are very engaged with our followers. So if you're not following us yet, we hope to see you on Instagram. If you have questions, you can contact us. You can always email us at globallearning@ucsc.edu. You can also phone us. You can visit our website. There's a lot of really good information on our website. Very robust set of resources that we have. There's also, we have a chat function on our website, so you can do a live chat with an advisor during our working hours. And of course, you can always set up an appointment in your Slugs Abroad portal if you ever need any assistance. Okay, so here we are, back to the agenda. I'm actually going to pass it over to Mr. Stephen Goldman from the Consulate General of Japan. So bear with me as I stop sharing my screen and let him switch over his presentation. Oh, Stephen, you're muted.
Okay, can everybody see this? Everything okay? Can you hear me? Should be muted now.
I can hear you.
Yes,
okay.
we hear you
All right.
and we see your screen.
Got it. Okay, fantastic. Okay, and let's go. Okay, my name is Steve Goldman, and I am the Senior Educational Coordinator at the Consulate General of Japan in San Francisco. And I want to take this opportunity first to thank Alice and Chrissy for inviting us to speak with you today about opportunities for studying in Japan and our mixed scholarship programs. Okay. A few interesting facts and figures about Japan. I'm going to talk very, very briefly about.
Stephen, I'm sorry to
okay.
interrupt you, but I think you're sharing your folder, but not the presentation itself. Can you adjust your screen sharing settings?
Oh, excuse me. What am I? Oh, sorry about. Sorry about that. Okay. How is that?
I see that. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think we're okay now. So facts and figures, a few interesting facts on why one would consider studying in Japan. I think many of you who are here today joining us are interested in Japan, and some of you probably know something about Japan. So I need not spend too much time going into any details on it, but I think firstly, Japan is a fascinating blend of the old and the new. So, I mean, if you want to, looking for a study abroad experience, Japan is, as I say, is a modern, highly developed country, a safe country, one of the safest in the world. So it's a wonderful, safe place with all the modern conveniences of like here in the United States, even more so in many cases, to study in Japan. Facts and figures. For example, many of you probably know that Japan is a country with the longest life expectancy, #1 in the world. It's probably no surprise to you that Japan leads the world in industrial robots in operation. Finally, a few other interesting facts. Japan is third in the world in financial contributions to the UN, and has the third largest gross national income in the world. So that would be, following the United States and China. And so Japan continues to be a major player in the world, in the global economic stage. An interesting fact about Japan too, that some of you may not be aware of, is that Japan is 7th in the world in the number of Nobel Prize winners, Nobel laureates, and with 26, and #1 in Asia. So for those of you, considering wanting to study a STEM field in Japan, you could go to no better place than Japan to continue your graduate studies at that. Okay. Oops. Okay. Why study in Japan? Okay. High quality education, affordable, career enhancement, study with an international community, fascinating culture and beautiful nature. Which would be the most important, or basically, I guess you would think which one would be of all of that list would be most important? Well, I think they're all equally important, all of the above. Okay, yes, you will receive a high quality education in Japan. Japan has some of the finest universities in Asia, certainly, but even in the world. Among the top 200 universities, at least 10 of them are in Japan, including Tokyo University, University of Tokyo, and Kyoto University, among others. Also, Japan is a leader in science and technologies, in the STEM fields, in engineering, robotics. So if you're interested at all in, as I say, in the STEM field and doing graduate work, Japan is certainly the leader in Asia in that field, and one of the leaders in the world for doing that, for studying. And as far as affordable, we'll be talking about that very soon. You'll be surprised to learn that Japan is quite affordable in terms of academic fees compared to even here in the United States, in California. Career enhancement. I think most employers, whether you choose to work domestically or you're looking for an international career, it's wonderful to be able to have on your resume that you've studied abroad, that you've lived abroad, in terms of your ability to negotiate master a foreign language, deal with foreign culture, dealing with diversity, and basically it just shows that you really, really are somebody who, is globally, internationally minded and can deal with and work with anybody from around the world, which is something that, as I say, employers are interested in, whether it's domestic or whether you're looking for an international career. Studying with an international community. You might be surprised to find out that currently Japan has over 300,000 international students. And chances are, if you go to Japan to study at university there, you will be in a community with people from all over the world, more so than you would be staying here in the United States. It is a virtual UN of United Nations, if you will, of people from around the world that you will meet. When I lived in Japan and studied in Japan, I met people from a dozen different countries that I studied with. So yeah, wonderful opportunity to do that. And well, rich nature and culture. I think, Japan is naturally, it's a beautiful country. It's blessed with mountains and forests, beautiful ocean, seascapes, you got alpine, you can go skiing, you've got the hot springs resorts and so on and so forth. And if you want, there's the subtropical beauty of Kyushu and Okinawa, something for everybody. And as far as culture goes, and as I said earlier, there's no better place that blends the modern and the new than in Japan, where you have a 2,000-year-old culture, where you can study calligraphy, traditional arts, martial arts, flower arrangement, you name it, as well as the latest in pop culture and anime and pop music and just about anything that there's something for everybody. So there's probably no country that blends the old and the new better than Japan does. Okay, now for a short video explaining, going into a little bit more detail as to why this is so.
Japan, an economic superpower known for powerful leadership in the global society. Studying amidst Japan's rich appeal will dramatically expand your personal growth. Together with traditional scholastic realms, Japanese educational excellence is likewise nurtured in animation, games, and other modern fields. Higher education in Japan includes 5 major categories. Although most classes are in Japanese, many university undergraduate and graduate degrees are offered in English only. Japan's government supports expanded hiring of international students domestically, with the number of such persons employed here steadily increasing. One promising career option for international students is working at globally active Japanese companies. Living in Japan, with one of the world's lowest crime rates, is safe and pleasant. Japan's health insurance system provides advanced medical care at low costs. International students in Japan can live securely on their own. Japan's constitution guarantees all residents freedom of religion, speech, and thought. Today, Japan is host for approximately 300,000 international students from over 170 nations throughout the world. So please consider studies in Japan, seizing the opportunity to build an even brighter and more fulfilling future.
Okay, I hope that's piqued your interest in considering studying in Japan. Now for another little quiz question for you all. Question, you can pursue a degree program entirely in English in Japan, true or false? I think most of you would probably say false, because you would think most classes are in Japanese, but actually it's true. You can, and this has been a program of the Japanese government now for the last 10 years or so, where they've been increasing the number of classes and even university programs offered entirely in English. Studying in Japan used to be a great barrier because of the language. When I first started doing this program some years ago, the people that we sent to Japan on Monbusho scholarships were all Japanese language majors studying Japanese literature, Japanese history, whatever, and had a very high level of Japanese. Not so anymore. We're getting a lot of technical graduates, science graduates with little or no Japanese because of the expansion of opportunities to study English, to study Japanese, study in Japan in English. Let's look at a few of these. Japanese university degree programs in English. On the left, we see the top 10 universities with a high ratio of classes conducted only in English, of course, excluding language classes. And these are actually the number of classes. So if we look, we have some universities like almost 100% of the classes are offered in English, like Akita International University and Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University in Kyushu. And of course, many of these are all private universities. International Christian University, where I studied some years ago, nearly a quarter of its classes are in English. So you can certainly take, many opportunities to take classes in English, and that's growing with every year. Over on the right side, we see the number of university degrees offered in English, and an amazing number of degrees in the fields, in the science fields, in the STEM fields, such as in engineering, you can see, and in science, and even in the social sciences. Quite a few graduate degrees in the hundreds are offered in schools throughout, programs throughout Japan. Now, these are all either entirely in English or mostly in English. Some of these are hybrid, Japanese and English. But you can enter in most of these courses with little or no Japanese to begin with. Of course, studying Japanese once you enter a program, even if it's in English, would of course be expected. But there are many, many opportunities to study nowadays without Japanese being a language barrier. Another quiz question for you. Japanese universities are less expensive to attend than comparable US universities. Now, again, most of you and many of you might think, well, how can that be? I mean, you hear about the cost of living in Japan. Japan is the most expensive place to live and so on and so forth. But actually, the answer is true. Let's take a closer look at why that's so. This chart is a comparison of the cost of attendance for the first year. Now, cost of attendance meaning these are the academic fees. That would be admission fees, tuition, textbooks, lab fees for the first year, freshmen. In Japan, for most public universities, approximately a little over $7,000 for the first year for a bachelor's degree, and approximately the same amount for a master's degree. Obviously, private universities run a little bit higher, but if we look down below at the United States, we see for the first year attending California University, in this case, UC Berkeley, this was as of 2021, academic fee for the first year, academic fees were at $14,312. So that's nearly twice as much. So Japan, at least as far as academic fees are concerned, is nearly half of what it would cost the United States to attend university for the first year. Obviously, private universities are even much more than that. And we're looking at another chart here, the average cost of graduate education in Japan. And pretty much, again, it repeats to the same thing. National universities running around 7,000. Local public university a little bit less, and private universities a little bit more. And again, as we compare it with a comparison below, we look at the cost of attending graduate school for 1 year at some of the following schools, for example, at San Francisco State University. This is for graduate education for, say, the first year in a master's program would be about $8,700. UC Berkeley, nearly twice that, twice as much as it would be in Japan at a national university. And Stanford, to do an MBA program as of last year, the first year was about $25,000. So no matter how you look at it, at least from a financial standpoint, Japan is a very good bargain, Japanese universities studying in Japan. Types of international students in Japan. Well, basically, there are three categories of international students. First is your regular students. That would be those accepted as undergraduates into a an undergraduate program to do a BA or BS degree. And then you have graduate students either doing pure research, just doing research, or going into a graduate program, an MA program or a PhD program. And I would like to mention that both undergraduate and graduate programs qualify for the MEX, the Japanese Government Ministry of Education scholarship, which I'll be talking about in my next presentation after this. The second category would be exchange students. And I think Chrissy was talking a lot about some of the exchange programs between UCSC and some schools in Japan. And suffice to know, some of these programs can run from 1 month to an entire quarter or semester. Unfortunately, the MEX scholarship does not apply to these, but the JASO scholarship, Japanese Student Services Organization scholarship, among several other scholarships, do. That's another Japanese government scholarship that you can apply for quarter, to cover quarter or semester student short-term student exchange programs. If you're interested in that, as well as the MEX scholarship program, we are making available a handout of this PowerPoint with all the links to these websites, to the JASO website and to the MEX website, where you can get more information about that. And finally, the third category would be Japanese language student, those who are going to Japan for the specific purpose of studying Japanese, either for work or to enter a university. There are private language schools, as well as Japanese language programs attached to various universities in Japan. And that ends my first presentation. And now I would like to turn it over to my colleague and friend, Miss Yu Higasawa, who will talk about opportunities at Osaka University for international students.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Is everybody seeing my presentation okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Hi, everybody. My name is Yu. I am from Osaka University, North American Center in Berkeley. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about Osaka, as well as Osaka University's exchange program with the UC. And I'd like to start the presentation with a short promotional video that Osaka University created.
Research environment. Open up your eyes. Open up your eyes.
Okay, I always mix it up. Sorry. Let me go to the next slide. Perfect. Okay, so Osaka is a really fun place to go to. I'm actually from Yokohama, which is right next to Tokyo, but Osaka is a really fun place, and then it's a really vivid city. There are so many things to do, and then so many things to see, and then so many things to eat. And according to the Economist survey back in 2019, the Osaka was 4th livable city in the world. And Osaka boosted its ranking for the rise of improvement in quality and availability of public transportation, as well as a consistent decline in crime rates. And as you can see, Osaka is only 30 minutes away from Kyoto, and 1 hour and 20 minutes away from Tokyo by airplane, and 2 hours and 30 minutes away from Tokyo by Shinkansen, which is the bullet train. You guys must try when you go to Japan. And Osaka University, it's a comprehensive research university. And university has 11 undergraduate schools, 16 graduate schools, 25 research institutes, 4 libraries, and 2 university hospitals. With the cutting-edge research achievement, Osaka University has a high reputation in education as a top-tier institution in Japan, and offers a variety of programs in English as well. Located in northern Osaka, 3 campuses are located in the city of Suita, Toyonaka, and Mino. And all of them offer easy access to the center of Osaka City, as well as the Osaka Itami International Airport and the bullet train Shin Osaka Station. As Osaka University is a national university corporation, its tuition are less expensive than most of the private university. And believe it or not, the tuitions Osaka, the national university is the same for international students. So if you're gonna go to Osaka University as an exchange student, it doesn't really matter. But if you are thinking to go to Japan to get like a master's degree or so, the tuition is gonna be same for the international students. And with the partner universities, we have several exchange programs, and a name a little bit different, what we call Osaka University and what the UCEAP call. The first one is the Frontier Lab, which I think is known as a STEM research in Osaka. This one is placing students in laboratories of the foreign schools, so mainly the STEM schools. And it could be, the duration is 3 months to 12 months a year. And the next one is the OSEP. This one, you're gonna be enrolled as a special auditor to take specific academic lectures in English. Most of the courses are already chosen and international exchange subjects. And this one, you can go like a semester or up to a year. And the third one is called MAPLE. This one is designed by the Center for Japanese Language and Culture to improve Japanese skills and enhance knowledge of Japanese culture and society. This one is for a year. And the next one, iExpo. This one is considered as a traditional exchange program. So the students are going there and then take whatever the classes that you like at Osaka University with the Osaka University students. This one, some of the classes might be available in English, but most of the classes gonna be in Japanese. And J-SHIP program is for students who like to take Japanese classes at Osaka University. So this one has a short stay in session program. There was one in summer and then another one in winter. I believe the winter one is for advanced or intermediate levels. So let's take a look at the requirements for each programs. As you can see, the iExpo, the one that I talked, the more traditional exchange program, if you are going there to take the lectures in Japanese, the language requirement is gonna be JLPT N1 or N2. And this one, you could go as non-credit, and then I think that way, like you might be able to take some of the classes in English. So the requirement's gonna be a little bit different. Some of the things that they might not ask for the Japanese requirement, but like as long as you can speak English. And then OSEP is the one that you're going to take all the classes in English. So you do not need to have the Japanese language requirement. And Maple is N4, which is N5 is the lowest level for the Japanese language requirement. So if you're already taking some Japanese, you might be that would be the equivalent to take apply for this program. And the Frontier Lab, which is the STEM research in Osaka program, that one is, I believe that this one is not required for the Japanese language, just because it really depending on the research laboratories. That most of them that actually taking the students in, they do take classes in English, so you do not have the Japanese language. And as I mentioned earlier, we do have 16 graduate schools, but we do have 12 graduate programs, all in English, under the School of Science, Engineering Science, and Information Science and Technology. And I named most of the programs there, but if you are interested in, just take a picture of the QR code on the screen for each schools, just because some of the requirement and then the process is really different depending on the schools. And if you have any question, you are more than welcome to reach out to me as well. I will share my contact info later. And I believe, I think Steve already talked about it. If you are planning to go to Osaka University to study Japanese, I think you can apply for the next scholarship as a Japanese study student. And that way you can actually go to Osaka University and take the Japanese programs for a year. And then it will cover all your tuitions and most of the living costs as well. And as I mentioned, so our university has an office right next to UC Berkeley. And right now, because of the COVID-19, we are closed, but I'm here in Berkeley still, and we take some of the online visit as well. If you have any questions, please email me at info.sf@overseas.osaka-u.ac.jp. And also you can go to our website and then request a Zoom appointment as well. Thank you. Oh, sorry, that was it.
Shall I just jump in? Okay, so my name is Anthony Johnson. I work with Waseda USA in Berkeley, California, just down the street from the Osaka's office. And so today, thank you for joining us. I appreciate being invited by UCLA and also for the Consulate General of Japan asking us to also participate in this program. So I'm going to start off first, share my screen for a quick video. Okay, is everybody able to see this?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Hi, thanks for checking out Waseda. I'll tell you about it in just 3.5 minutes. Let's go. First of all, Waseda is in central Tokyo. What draws people to Tokyo? Well, there are historic landmarks and buildings, and vibrant city life, convenient public transportation, and great food. Tokyo has a lot to offer. Also, safety is part of the reason why Tokyo is rated the world's most livable city. And it's full of friendly, helpful people. Now, about the Waseda community. Waseda has over 8,000 international students, the largest number in Japan. Let's meet some students.
I think the most delicious thing to eat in Japan is shabu shabu.
はい、今一番楽しい授業、フィルムスタディスという授業です。It's too easy to get lost in the train station.
僕は柔道をやってみます。
Pretty diverse, right? We offer 56 degree programs taught in English and over 3,000 English language courses. Let's look in on a class. Tell us about Waseda.
In my school at Waseda, we not only study international issues, we're an international group, a very friendly international group, and it's a lot of fun for both the students and the teacher.
Waseda has partnerships with 800 institutions in over 90 countries and regions. It's way too many for me to name. We're definitely global. Waseda is one of the top schools in Japan for employability. Our graduates are in high demand. Lots of international alumni work in Japan and around the world, creating a strong global alumni network. That's a big help when looking for jobs and internships. And for fun, join a club. We've got over 1,000. I think our clubs are some of the most active in the world. At Waseda, you can make friends for a lifetime. We'd love for you to join us at Waseda. Did you enjoy the video? For more information, visit the Y Waseda website. It's in 13 different languages. Hope to see you here.
Okay, so I hope that piqued some of your interest in Waseda University. I have one more really short video I want to show from a student, former student in the program there.
I chose Waseda because...
Can everybody hear and see that as well? Okay, great.
I chose Waseda because I was very interested in Japan and learning about Japanese culture and language, and the school had a really nice reputation for having one of the best English degree programs in all of Asia. Currently, I'm studying economics and politics in the Odessa program. It's split about half and half in my department, which is global political economy. Waseda has the best English degree program where you can study all of your classes in English. And it's a nice mix of Japanese students as well as foreign students trying to learn more about Japan or study their Japanese language skills. After I graduate, I plan on getting a job back home in America using the skills that I learned in Japan, hopefully in a politics-related job. I think students in America shouldn't be scared to study abroad or travel abroad for their degree program. Even if they aren't 100% confident in their Japanese skills, I think you should still give it a shot and come over.
Okay, thanks for watching that. So let me stop that real quick. Okay, and so that actually was a student from our degree seeking program. So it's a little bit different what we're talking about here today, but nevertheless, you get an idea of what it was like for him to study there. Next, I'm going to start the PowerPoint presentation here. And so just a little background. My name, again, is Anthony Johnson. I work with Waseda USA. I studied abroad at Waseda many years ago before they had a lot of these programs in place. And I studied at their international division, things like Japanese language and Japanese culture. And like other people who spoke, like Kirsty, for example, you know, it was a very positive, life-changing experience for me. And so it is something that I really like to encourage students to, you know, try. So let me get started here. Okay. Okay, so this is brought to you by Waseda USA, and it's about opportunities to study abroad at Waseda University. So let me start off with a little bit about Tokyo. So Tokyo is the #1 most livable city in the world according to Monaco magazine. It is #1 for Michelin-starred restaurants. So if you like to eat, which most of us do, It is number one, even beating Paris now. It's number one for cleanliness, safety, transportation, and help for locals. And I can attest to that. When I was there, I got a lot of help from friendly locals, like when I got lost or when I lost things, for example. Many examples that I could talk about. It's number three for world's most important city, according to Global Power City Index. And also number two for best student city, according to QS Best Student Cities ranking. So let me go on a little bit on a few facts about Waseda University. So Waseda in 2020 was ranked number one private university in Japan and number 34 in the world for graduate employability. It is also number one in Japan for the university with the most international students. Waseda is the most well-known university in the Tokyo area, even beating out Tokyo University, which is kind of funny. Basically, I guess it just means if they stop a random person on the street in Tokyo and ask them for the most popular university in the area, they're most likely to say Waseda University. So Waseda University is also number one for CEOs on the Tokyo Stock Exchange with 112 at last count. It is the alma mater for 7 prime ministers. And it's not on here, but it also has the number one business school in Japan. So actually Waseda University is a very well-known university in East Asia area altogether, and they welcome many students from the region, places like China and Korea. And many of them go on to graduate and fill elite positions in their fields. So one example is Kun-hee Lee, and he is a graduate of Waseda and the chairman of Samsung. So also the current Japanese ambassador to the US, His Excellency Shunsuke Sugiyama, is a Waseda alumnus as well. So here you can see Waseda has over 8,000 international students. So they hail from approximately 121 countries and regions around the world. So this makes for a very diverse student population. So Waseda, sorry, 1 second. Waseda also works hard to promote cultural exchange among students and faculty. The Intercultural Communication Center holds approximately 300 events a year where students can not only learn about Japanese culture, but also about the culture of their classmates. And students also have the opportunity to showcase their own culture if that's something they would like to do. Waseda is also well known for its sports activities. They have 44 varsity sports on campus, including usual athletics like track, swimming, baseball, as well as some unusual ones. For example, race car driving and sumo wrestling. Some famous athletes who attended Waseda include ice skating Olympic gold medalist Yuzuru Hanyu, Japan's first Olympic gold medalist Mikio Oda, and previous judo world champion Anne-Marie DeMars, to name a few. Waseda also has hundreds of students clubs, so anyone can find a club to their liking. When I was there, I did a cover band club and also a Kendo club. And it was a whole lot of fun. This chart here shows you the number of international students at Waseda and how it has increased between the years 2010 and 2019, as of May 1st and November 1st for each year. So in total, the number has increased for those periods by approximately 1,500. And so we expect that to continue, well, you know, depending on the whole COVID sort of situation. And this chart is the top 5 countries where international students are originating. So it's good to know that the school you plan to attend welcomes and literally celebrates diversity the way Waseda University does. So let me get into the study abroad opportunities here. So first, I'd like to go into the exchange program that Waseda has available. So we do have a partnership with UC Santa Cruz. And so this is an exchange program. Participants only pay the tuition at their home universities. No additional tuition is required. You have, here you can see the courses that are available for undergraduate and graduate exchange programs. So for more information, you'd want to talk to, so all of these may not be available actually for UC Santa Cruz, but at any rate, you want to talk to your global learning or what is it, international office program to get more information about how to apply and so forth. So other study abroad programs include the summer session. So from 2014, Waseda started a 4-week summer session at the undergraduate level. And in 2016, international students from 65 universities in 13 countries and regions around the world enrolled in this program. Courses cover a variety of subjects and are taught in English by experienced faculty members from Waseda, as well as some visiting professors from Waseda's partner institutions. So just keep in mind, however, that due to COVID-19 pandemic, summer session 2021 has been canceled. However, we are looking forward to the program resuming from the summer of 2022. Then we have a Japanese language program. So of the nearly 8,000 international students at Waseda, or over 8,000, I'm sorry, at Waseda University, more than 2,000 take Japanese language courses in the Center for Japanese Language. So Japanese language education at Waseda University is integrated into the Center for Japanese Language, and they provide language learners with approximately 650 hours of classes a week, and they have a teaching staff of around 190. Finally, there are graduate programs. Waseda offers Japan's most extensive English-based curriculum. So at the graduate school level, in addition to master's and doctoral degrees, students can also study to obtain a double degree with certain partner universities in Asia and in the US. So here's a little more information on the courses. So you can see just a list of the courses that are offered through the summer session. So everything from business, culture, economics, history, literature, politics, anthropology, and sociology, and interdisciplinary courses. And then a Japanese language program, they offer Japanese language courses covering 8 levels, starting from very low or level on up to intensive Japanese language 1 and 2. The graduate program, you can see the classes offered here as well. So a little bit more about each program. So for the summer session, there is a 4-week program basically, and it starts generally speaking from early June and goes on through early July of each year. And students are able to choose 2 out of 15 courses, and they get 2 credits per course. You are also eligible to take a Japanese course for an extra credit. And to qualify, you just must be a current undergraduate at an accredited college or university, have a GPA of 2.5 or higher. Application period is usually from March 1st and goes throughout that month. And this is the approximate cost. Well, it is 490,000 yen, so. And a little bit about the Japanese language program. So there are there's a regular long-term program with 6 months and 1-year options. And then we also have a short-term program, and you have a choice between a 3-week and 6-week program. For the long-term program, there are 8 levels of Japanese language, as I mentioned earlier. And they cover from very beginning to super advanced. Admissions are offered in April and September for that program. And for the short term, the levels offered are from beginning on up to intermediate. And you want to check online for the start dates for this, as it's a little bit more complicated. Once you're accepted, the first step will be the JCAT, which is a placement test for determining students' language level. And then students who are accepted into this program have the opportunity to choose from a list of classes and basically design their own program. Additionally, there are extracurricular activities, and for example, mochi rice making, and other cultural activities. Let's say for the graduate program, so a little bit about that. Basically, graduate applicants will need to find permission from prospective research supervisors before applying to the school. So you'd want to refer to the requirements and researcher database, which we have as well. So there's the English-based graduate program. There's a Waseda Business School. And the English-based program, there are 12 schools to choose from. And as I mentioned earlier, there's master's, doctorate programs, as well as opportunities to get double degrees. The Waseda Business School is the #1 business school in Japan, and they offer 3 English-based programs. So now a little bit about accommodations. So it depends on the program that you're entering. So here you can see what will be offered. So for the summer session, a single room is arranged by Waseda University, and it is included in the summer session fee. Accommodations are a short bus ride to the main campus. For the Japanese language program, students will have to find their own housing. However, the agencies that you see listed here do assist with that. And so students have options to find housing in dorms or shared housing or homestay. So I did homestay. It was a very good experience. I'm still in contact with that family, and I strongly recommend that to people who have a chance to do that. For the graduate program, students, again, they are responsible for finding their own accommodations. However, we do have the agency on campus, the Residence Life Center, that will help with that as well. And finally, a little bit about scholarships. So for the summer session, there's JASL, or the Japan Student Services Organization, which Steve mentioned earlier. So it's an independent administrative institution under MEXT. And so they offer monthly stipend for short-term international students who meet their academic standards. So when you apply to study at Waseda, just inform them that you would like to apply to the JASL scholarship. Waseda will apply for that on behalf of the student. However, it is JASL that makes the determination. It is also a very competitive scholarship, so please just keep that in mind. Then for graduate program, their MEXT does offer some support. So again, Japanese government sponsored scholarships for foreign students at Japanese universities. So you can also consider that. So as Steve also mentioned, I'd just like to point out again that, you know, tuition is a lot more affordable at universities in Japan for the most part, as well as living expenses. A lot of people have the notion that Tokyo is so expensive, but from my personal experience, as well as from a lot of data that I have, basically there's a wide gamut. So depending on, you know, your spending habits and what you're looking to do, it's a very affordable place to live and also go to school. Okay, so whether you're looking for higher education, research, sports, global awareness, socializing, nature, or city life, Waseda has it all. So please contact Waseda University directly or Waseda USA in Berkeley for more information. So to contact us at Waseda USA, you can send us an email. There's the phone numbers there. However, you know, with the pandemic, we're just not in the office daily. However, you can feel free to call if you like and leave a message. We'd get back to you. But of course, email is the best way to do that. And you can also see the Why Waseda link there as well. So if you want to check that out later. And that concludes my presentation today. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Share screen. Okay, can everybody see that? Okay, that, all right. Now, okay. Now for the second part of my presentation, thank you, Anthony. Now we'll talk specifically about the Japanese government scholarship program. MEC scholarship. Okay, scholarships for studying at Japanese universities. There are, of course, more than the MEC scholarship. There are many other scholarships. There are quite a few other scholarships that are available. People looking for financial support to study in Japan. There is, as was previously mentioned, the Japanese Student Services Organization Scholarship, the JASO Scholarship, which is, as I say, a subsidiary under the Ministry of Education. And they offer short-term, quarter, and semester-based scholarships for short-term programs. Then there are scholarships offered by universities. There are also scholarships offered by local governments and private foundations. And for more information, you can go to the JASO website, which is the link below, and get a comprehensive list of the various kinds of scholarships that are offered. Now I'd like to talk in specific about the Ministry of Education scholarship. As of 2015, which is the last year of which we have information for, there was well over 100,000 students from approximately 170 countries and regions around the world have studied in Japan under the Japanese government, or in Japanese, the Monbuka Gakusho scholarship since its inception in 1954. It's probably more than that by now. Now, the Japanese government scholarship system. Okay, how does this work? Okay, there are basically two ways to apply for a MEC scholarship, essentially. One way is where the embassy or the consulate, where say I represent at the Consulate General of Japan in San Francisco, where we do the primary screening, where the applications come to us and we select applications for applicants to come in for testing and an interview, and then we would go on and recommend them for a scholarship to Japan, to the Ministry of Education, and then they would contact the universities that the students indicated in their application, and they would get a final approval the following year, the beginning of the following year. The other way, essentially, is for students who are particularly interested in a specific university they wanted to apply to in Japan, to apply to that university and to the MEC scholarship through the university. And for people who are interested in that approach, they need to contact that university that they're interested in studying and to find out what the application procedures for a MEC scholarship through the university they're interested in. What is those procedures? Because they're very different from our procedures at the consulate and the embassies. The timing is different, and the various evaluation procedures are different. In both cases, though, we accept you can apply at both as an undergraduate and graduate student. And the final, the domestic recommendation is just a subset of the university recommendation. That is for students already in Japan who want to study at a specific Japanese university in Japan as graduate students, and they can apply directly to the university for a MEC scholarship. And that's just for research students. Okay, what scholarships do we offer? There are actually more, but at the Consulate General of Japan, currently, we, at our office, we deal with 4 scholarships, of which really only 2 would be of interest to you all here, to the students at UC Santa Cruz. And they would be number 1 by far and away our most popular scholarship, which is the graduate research scholarship. And this is for eligibility would be for anybody who's a college graduate and is interested in going to Japan to study, either to do graduate level research with the idea of coming back and doing a degree here in the United States, or actually entering a master's or PhD program in Japan. And it's an 18-month or 24-month program, depending on whether you need a 6-month Japanese language program or not, intensive Japanese study program or not, before beginning your graduate study. And so that, by the way, is our most popular program. And the other one would be the Japanese Studies program for sophomores and juniors who are Japanese language majors, who are current students, say, here at UCSC, and who would like to go to Japan for a year to power up their Japanese. They take Japanese language courses And there are two modules. There's one module that focuses on Japanese language education, and there's another one that just focuses on Japanese studies like history, social sciences, and so on. And depending on that, you choose which one. You go to Japan for 1 year. It's a 1-year program, whereas the research scholarship is up to a 2-year program, unless you go on to do a PhD, which you can. And you could apply for an extension if you get accepted into a PhD program or a master's program. Okay, and the other is the undergraduate program, which doesn't apply to you or to people, or the specialized training program for vocational students to study at vocational college for 2 years. Benefits. I would like to highlight that the MEX scholarship is the only full scholarship. And by full, we mean basically that in addition to academic fees being paid, you get a living stipend, which will cover your living expenses, your food, your housing, and also a certain very small amount will be taken up from your monthly stipend to pay for the National Health Insurance Scheme that you would be covered by the and if you see here in the little window here below, for research students, it would be approximately 143,000 yen per month, or approximately $1,330. And for if you have a master's degree, a little bit more, and a PhD, just a little bit more than that. And you might ask, well, can I get by on that? In addition, of course, to all your fees being paid. And by the way, in addition to that, if you complete the program, you get your round trip airfare is also included. So that is a very, very generous scholarship. It's as I say, the only complete scholarship, full scholarship offered. And to find out, I guess the question being, as I mentioned, is the MEX scholarship enough to live on? Well, a couple of years back, the Japan Association for the Promotion of Internationalization conducted a recent survey of foreign students in Japan, both MEX and non-MEX students, about their monthly expenditures. And basically what they came up with, asking them is, they asked, for example, how many of you could live on 60,000 yen, or approximately $600 a month? Approximately 8% responded. If they raised it to 80,000 yen, maybe 13.2%, up to 100,000 yen, 19%. If you add it all together, when I mentioned just before in the window before, that the research students, for example, get 143,000 yen per month, that adding that all together, you have well over 90% of the respondents said that they could live on that amount of money. So I guess to underscore, in the almost 8 years that I've been doing this program, and we usually send, as I say, 1, 2, sometimes 3 scholarship students to Japan. Nobody in that entire time has ever contacted me regarding any difficulty in getting by on the stipend. So it's very, very encouraging to note that. And you also, if you want, you are allowed to work, in addition to that, to do part-time work for up to, I believe, 25 hours a week. You certainly, of course, need to get permission from your university, from your advisor, and get there's a special permission form that you need to get from immigration as well, that will allow you to do that. But you can work for up to 25 hours a week. And, as long as, you get an agreement from your scholarship, from your advisor, and from your school. So you can definitely, you won't get rich doing this, but the main purpose that you're going for Japan is to study, and the very, generous allowance covers all of your expenses. You don't have to worry about, you don't have to work if you don't want to, but that option is there to make a little bit extra money as well if you want to travel a little bit or save a little bit more money or whatever for other expenses. Now, I'd like you to hear from a person who actually had gone on as a MEX scholar, and she's going to talk a little bit about what her experience has been.
So I decided to study in Japan first and foremost because I'm half Japanese, and I'm very proud of that, but I had never actually lived in Japan before. And so I wanted to be able to experience my cultural roots. And secondly, there's a great double degree program, and I had planned on taking the second year away from Japan. But after arriving to Japan, I fell in love with studying here. And actually now I stayed the full 2 years of my master's degree, and I'm planning to finish a PhD. Because of this, I think that a few things happened when I decided to study here. First of all, through my research and seeing what sorts of issues are in Asia, I kind of discovered that Asia is the future. We're seeing so much population growth in Asia, but also many geopolitical issues in the East Asia Pacific region. And so I wanted to be able to further expand my knowledge of this area and also just enjoy Japan. Finally, I also love living in Tokyo. It's such a great dynamic city, and with so many different people and experiences and opportunities here, I highly encourage anyone to be able to study here. Okay, the great thing about Japan is that it's fun, first and foremost. I truly enjoy living here and feel that I have a completely autonomous lifestyle. What I mean by that is in a large city, there's great public transportation and an easy way to get whatever information or other things that you may need, for example, that you miss from home. In such an international large city, it's easy to do that. Secondly, even though it's such a large place and a foreign place, it's not scary at all. As a single female, one of the things I considered when moving somewhere new is if I feel safe. And in Japan, I feel safer than anywhere else in the world, including my own native New York and other places in the US. So I suggest that if you have concerns about safety or other issues, that Japan is a great place for that. That's one of the best things about being here. Lastly, if you compare the costs to other major schools and universities around the world, especially in the UK or in the US, I feel that overall, considering costs of living and the tuition, that it's actually cheaper to study in Japan. That's another major reason I decided to study here as opposed to the US. So overall, I think that there are many positive aspects about studying in Japan.
Okay, you heard from her, and now I would like you to introduce you to the 4 people who actually went through the MEX program here at the Consulate General of Japan in San Francisco, and they posted their experiences in essays on our consulate website. So I encourage you to read their stories if you'd like to know more about the MEX scholarship experience. The 4 that we have on our web whose stories are on our website. The first is a Miss Rhoda Noor, who graduated who studied at University of Tokyo and got a master's degree in electrical engineering. And she's currently employed in the Silicon Valley, I believe, in an engineering firm. Miss Farheen Abbasi, who was an MA student in microbiology at Osaka University. And Mr. Benjamin Lewis, who studied structural engineering at Kyoto University. And after he graduated and received an MA at Kyoto University, he was hired by Obayashi Company, one of Japan's largest construction companies in Tokyo, and is currently working as a structural engineer there. So there are also, many possibilities to actually go on and find employment after studying in Japan, as he's demonstrated. And then Miss Julie Gramlish, she graduated with a degree, MA degree at Kyoto University, and she returned and she's here in the Bay Area, and she's helped us out a bit on some of our presentations, and you can read hers and all of the other stories on our website for information. And now just a summary of our scholarships. Basically, we're expecting, actually, will be up on our website. We've got the information. And so for the Graduate Research Scholarship for college graduates like yourselves or people who will be graduating, for those of you, the Graduate Research Scholarship application period is opened. And as I say, it will be on our website shortly. And please look for that. Also for the undergraduate, which doesn't really apply to you, but for the Graduate Research Scholarship, the applicant will have our announcement on our website with links, with a link to the MEX and the JASO websites where you can go to download the necessary forms to apply for the scholarship. and information and instructions. And as I say, that will be on our website. Please look for it within the next few days, to certainly by the beginning of next week. That's basically the only other thing. One more thing I'd like to mention again, some useful websites for information. Study in Japan, a guide for US students is an excellent program, excellent guide that was put out by the embassy, the Japanese embassy in Washington, DC, and it's specifically designed for US students interested in studying in Japan. So I highly recommend you to go to that website, the Consulate General of Japan website, previously to find out about the listing of the former students who've studied there, mixed students, as well as all of our scholarship announcements and information will be on that website. The Study in Japan website, that will be the website that you will go to actually download the forms for to apply for the graduate program for the research scholarship. And then also on the JASO website below is the link for degree programs in English. And again, this will all be available to you in a PDF form as a handout that we've already actually sent to you. So you can, as I say, feel free to go there and check that out, as well as this program is being recorded too. So you have a chance to look through that as well. And we'll be happy to take any questions you have specifically at the end of my presentation and all the other presentations. So thank you very much. And I will stop sharing. And now, I suppose we will turn it over to my colleague, Consul Noritoshi Kurokawa.
Hello, and can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, and my name is Noritoshi Kurokawa, Consul at the Consulate General of Japan in San Francisco. And I originally from the Ministry of Education, Science, Technology in Japan, or MEX in short. I will explain the current COVID-19 situation in Japan. And the first is statistics. As of yesterday, confirmed COVID-19 cases in Japan are about 538,000. This is much smaller than that of California and the US. The map shows Japan's COVID-19 cases yesterday. Japan had 2,900 cases in total, whereas California had 1,016 cases, 1,600 cases. At the prefecture level, Tokyo had 405 cases, and Osaka and the second largest city in Japan had 719 cases. The small graph shows the trend of Japan's daily cases. It peaked in late December after Christmas and around New Year's Day, and now the fourth wave is coming to Japan. The last January, Japan declared the state of emergency in Tokyo, Osaka, and some other prefectures, but it was lifted nationwide last month. Currently, quasi-emergency measures are effective in 10 prefectures, including Tokyo and Osaka. In 10 prefectures, restaurants, cafes, and bars and karaoke are asked to close by 8 or 9 p.m. But unlike California, there is no restriction or there is no restriction on indoor dining. Supermarkets are basically open as usual. As for schools, elementary schools, junior high schools, and high schools hold in-person classes. Most universities hold in-person classes too. And the problem is that Japan is closing its borders to almost all new foreign arrivals, except under special circumstances until further notice. It may take some time to be relaxed. When cross-border travel resumes, you'll be required to present the result of the negative PCR test and also undergo a 14-day quarantine upon arrival. Please keep up with the latest information. It will be available from the website of the Consulate General. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for your presentations. We all learned a lot today. I know I did as well, and just really appreciate sharing all this information. We are going to now allow our study abroad alumnus Christian to have a minute to share about his experience in Japan. And then we're going to open it up to questions for anyone today. If you have questions for Christian or any of the presenters, you will have a chance to do so. So Christian, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for having me today. My name is Christian Salazar, and as you probably know, I am a returning for study abroad. I did the year program at Keio University last year. And so today, hopefully, I can give you all some insight on student experience abroad and just what it would be like for you to go to Japan. But before that, I'll give you a brief background of my experience. First of all, I'm a global economics major here at UCSC, and part of this major actually requires me to study abroad and learn a foreign language. And I decided to go with Japan because in high school, I was already studying Japanese, and I really wanted to continue that, and it gave me an opportunity to continue it through UCEAP's Keio University program. The reason that I did choose Keio University, though, was that it was a year program, and that was really appealing to me since I thought summer programs and even fall or just single quarter programs, they're not very long in length. 6 months is a lot of time, but I wanted the full year of experience. Sadly, that did get cut short due to COVID-19, but I did still enjoy my time there from the about 8 to 10 months that I was there. And the reason I chose Keio University was also because it's known for its economic research and it's a private university. And that's just something that I really wanted to incorporate into my experience abroad in Japan. And so overall, some of my favorite parts of studying abroad would have to be traveling to other cities outside of Tokyo and outside of Kanagawa, where I lived. My favorite place overall was actually going to Hiroshima for a week during my winter break. So if you have a chance to go somewhere during your winter break for about a week, I would definitely recommend that you take a bullet train out to somewhere that's further away from where you're studying. And my personal bias choice would be Hiroshima, of course. And aside from that, I also really did enjoy just meeting a whole bunch of people and going down random streets with them and trying different foods of Japan. And yeah, that's pretty much about what I want to say. If anyone has any questions, you're all free to ask.
Thanks, Christian. I was curious about your photo here with a Japanese family. Did you do like a homestay program?
No, that was actually on my trip to Hiroshima. I decided randomly that I wanted to learn how to make some Japanese cuisine. So I went over there and I learned how to make okonomiyaki, and I was able to stay. They invited me into their house to stay for a while longer, and they treated me to a home cooked meal.
Oh, very cool. So was it a cooking class you signed up for?
Yeah, I signed up one time on a random website. I actually don't remember the name, but it was very cheap. I think it was about $20 US, I'd say. And I still remember how to make the meal. So that's also something that you can try while you're there to meet new people.
Love that. Also, Hiroshima has the best okonomiyaki.
That's why I decided to learn it while I was there.
Thank you, Christian. Does anyone have any questions for any of the panelists or Christian? We're happy to answer your questions. Daniel, you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Hi. I have a question for Mr. Goldman.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for JASO, because I currently have applied and been nominated for a program to Sophia University for next spring, and what would be my process of applying for JASO scholarships?
Okay, actually, through your university, we don't deal with the consulate directly with the JASO scholarships. That we deal with the MEC scholarships. So the university that you're, what university did you get accepted for to?
Sophia.
Sophia University. Okay. Yeah. So you would ask them about tell them that you're interested in applying for the JASO scholarship, and they should be able to assist you, particularly I guess, global studies, but the International Student Center or whoever you've been in touch with, and just mention that, and they will give you specific information about applying for it and how, what they need for you. But the JASO scholarship information, if you're applying, would be through the university that you're studying at.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Anthony and you, I had a couple questions about studying graduate programs in Japan. So if I understood correctly, there are graduate programs taught in English. Is that correct, that international students can apply to at both
Yes,
the universities?
right.
How long is a graduate program typically in Japan?
I think 2 years,
Yeah,
right, Anthony?
it is for Waseda University, generally speaking. Yeah.
Okay, so 2 years. Other than the MEC scholarship, do your universities offer any other special scholarships for international students who might be getting a graduate degree at your universities?
Well, Waseda University has quite a few scholarships that are available, but also the departments offer some assistance. So often you can go to the school that you're interested in going to graduate school at and see what kind of resources they have in terms of financial assistance as well.
Same at Osaka University. Unfortunately, most of the scholarship available are not something that you can apply while you're trying to get into the program. So a lot of students, once they're getting into the program, and then like while they're there, like they'll apply for the scholarship that's available.
Yeah, thank you for letting me know. I think it's a really great opportunity, and probably a lot of our students don't realize that if they don't have the chance to do a study abroad in Japan as an undergrad, they could go to Japan and do research or get a graduate degree, and especially the funding that's available seems really impressive. So, I hope the students stay are listening and thinking about that opportunity. Also obviously teaching English in Japan is another way to go back to Japan, but just keep in mind also the nice, the affordable living costs too for graduate school definitely beats the US, that's for certain.
Yeah, so just before we go, keep in mind, you can always reach out to us if you have any questions. We can give you more information on the various study abroad programs at Waseda University, including research and graduate program, other programs too. So
I might also add too that you can go to the JASO website, and they have a very comprehensive list of the various scholarships that are offered. And some of it tells you, for example, some of them are university-based scholarships as well. So, or sister city-based scholarships, or prefectural scholarships. So go to the JASO website if you're looking for scholarships, in addition to MEXT scholarships and the JASO scholarships. And that will be on our handout, the link to the JASO website.
Anyone else have any questions?
I'm actually interested in pursuing a master's in Japan, but one of my concerns was actually, I wasn't sure how competitive the MEXT scholarship is. So is there any chance you have any insight on what the odds of someone from the US would be to get accepted?
Good question. We get that almost every session, at least one time. I can only speak from my personal experience. Perhaps Consul Kurokawa can add after I do, but from my personal experience, the Consul General in Japan, I've been doing this program for about this is like my 7th or 8th year now. And every year we get about around 20 or so applicants for applicants coming in for the MEX Research Scholarship, 20 to 25 last year. I think we had almost 30 actually. And we generally end up at the end after we do a screening of the applications, and then we invite people in for testing and an interview, what we call our preliminary primary screening. And after that, we end up usually recommending 2, sometimes 1 out of say 20 to 25. Now, I don't know how that translates to other consulates across or nationally across the country, but approximately, yeah, say 2 out of historically, let's say 20 to 25, usually for the last 7 years. Does that help you a little bit? Give you some idea? It is competitive. In other words, to answer, it is competitive. I don't know if Furukawa-san wanted to add anything from a national standpoint or not.
Yeah, Steve's information is correct. Usually 2 or 3 students from Northern California and Nevada, which is our jurisdiction area. So I hope maybe 2 or 3 students from Northern California and Nevada for the next year.
Thank you.
I want to be mindful of the time. We've gone over a little bit. Did anyone have any last questions? If not, I have one final question for Christian. What do you miss most about Japan?
Miss most? What don't I miss most? I just miss the general environment. Since it was a foreign country for me, it was a lot of seeing a lot of brand new things, going to a lot of stores. And I really loved shopping and just going and seeing all the cute stuff, even though I couldn't buy it all.
Japan does have the best souvenirs. And on that note, thank you so much, everyone, for coming today. I really appreciate you taking the time to learn more about these opportunities. I hope you will reach out to us if you have further questions. And I will be sending out this recording later over email, so you have access to watch this if you need to. All right, thank you, everyone.